You have to believe. Hi, I'm Brita Long, and I'm the author and the creator of The Happier Attorney. This is the channel for attorneys where we talk about flat fees and mindset so that you can become a happier attorney. And today we're going to be talking about what you believe your value is to your client and your potential clients. Because the bottom line is, if you don't believe in the value of your work, there is no way that you can expect anybody else to believe in the value of your work. And I once was teaching an attorney how to use flat fees. And when we first started, she absolutely did not understand the value of her work. In fact, she was literally turning away people who wanted to hire her because she was telling them that actually they just could do it themselves. That's how much she did not believe in the value of her work. And while some of the things technically they could do themselves, they were going to do a horrible job themselves and create far more problems. Technically, I could roof my house. How's that going to turn out? It's going to be horrible. And by the way, I don't want to do that either. Okay? I see the value of hiring that out. And so part of working with my clients is really getting them to understand the value of what they do, of what we do. And part of the problem, part of the disconnect there is that when we do something and it's easy for us, our brain kind of tricks us and we assume that it's easy for everybody else. Like, how can I charge for something that was so easy for me to do? Well, we take a step back. It's easy for you to do because we went to law school for 3 years. We took a bar exam and passed a bar exam. And then we still didn't know much. And now we have been practicing for however many years. That's why it's easy for us, right? It's not going to be easy for your potential client. And the easier they think it is, the worse job they're going to do, right? And even if it was easy for them to do, they don't want to do it. Or they wouldn't be in your office trying to give you money to do it for them. Okay? So when we think about our value, it can be very difficult to kind of quantify in our heads and think about, especially when we're comparing ourselves to other attorneys. Well, we all have, I have the same bar number that, everybody else in town has. There's no difference between me and every other family law attorney in town or estate planning attorney or whatever. And that's just not true, okay? First of all, even if it was technically true that they could do the same thing that you do the same, people want to work with people that they want to work with, and that's okay. So maybe the only thing that differs from you versus another attorney is that your potential client likes you. They want to work with you, and that's valid. Okay, but let's get back to actually what does make you different. What is your value? One of the questions that I ask is, why is your client better off hiring you? What would happen to your client or your potential client if they tried to do this on their own or hired somebody who, let's say, dabbles in your practice area, or has a huge caseload, or doesn't give the service that you give, isn't as tenacious as you are, let's say is scared to go to trial, or all of the other things? Then we start to get to what the truth is. Because assuming that you know what you're doing, that you're a good attorney, you care about your clients, and so forth, now we can start seeing what is actually going on. Oh, well, if they went down to that attorney who's very nice, blah, 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 this is generally what's going to happen. And for some cases, that might be fine. Oh, in this case, yeah, that wouldn't go well. Well, what would happen? So let's break that in a little further. Let's talk about the tangible, what you can actually quantify. How much money is at stake? If that person goes and has a contract review by someone who doesn't know what they're doing or doesn't have the experience or is just going to kind of rubber stamp it. What money is at stake? What is a contract worth? How much would it take away from their business to litigate? What are attorney fees going to be to redo it or to come back and try and fix a mess? Really, what is at stake here financially? What about their liberty? Is jail time actually at stake? You know, if somebody gets in contempt of court or doesn't pay their child support or is charged with a crime, their liberty might actually be at stake. Okay, that's a pretty tangible, oh my goodness. What property is at stake? It could be their personal property, it could be their business. What about time with their children? What about time with their children uninterrupted by drama and conflict? What would happen if they didn't get a plan done, let's say an estate plan, by you who knows what you're doing? What would actually happen if they were incapacitated or died? What would happen when they got a kind of checkmark will when in fact they needed a trust? What would actually happen? How much trouble are they likely to get into if they go to somebody who doesn't know what they're doing or doesn't do it to the depth that you do it or has too much of a caseload and can't do it, right? Then we get into the intangible. And quite frankly, most of the time, the intangible is far more important than the tangible. This is the feelings and the thing that we don't like to talk about, but actually to people, it's far more important. Number one, they're there for peace of mind. They want to know that they're going to be okay. Their children are going to be okay. Their business is going to be okay. Is that valuable? Of course. What could be more valuable? To know you're going to be okay, that everything that you have worked for is going to be okay, that your children are going to be okay. Huge value. Their reputation. We have seen recently in the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial how important reputation is to most people. That trial wasn't about money. That was about getting his name back. At the end of the day, our reputation is all we have. And yeah, for most people, it's pretty important. So it's intangible, but it is important to people. What about their relationships with other people? This is something that we generally don't think about, but it's important. So let's say it's a family law case and they go to someone who, for lack of a better term, is a fire starter. They're just going to throw napalm on the case to generate work or to generate conflict for whatever reason. They're just that attorney. What is that going to do to the relationships in that case? Where maybe it was parents who didn't like each other anymore, but they could go to the kids' basketball game and hi, okay, and be okay. Now they can't do that. Now they hate each other. Now they're going to be the parents at, their daughter's wedding in 20 years who start a fight, which I've actually been to a wedding reception where that happened, okay? Their relationships with other people, whether it be their employees or vendors, every case we have, every matter that we have involves people and generally relationships with other people. And those are generally important. So what we do really does have value. So those are some of the tangible things and the intangible things to start getting you to think about what value you actually provide to people and how valuable that actually is. And so when you're using flat fees well, you're starting to get away from thinking that your only value is your time. And in fact, it is the least valuable thing that you have to offer someone. I can tell you, no client gives a rat's patootie about how long something took you. They care about results. They care about how it's affecting their actual life and what you can do for them, not how long it took you to draft something. And so you are taking a problem off of their shoulders, or at least taking the main brunt of it. You're giving someone hope. You're giving them peace of mind. That's what they care about. And if you don't fully understand and accept that your service is valuable, you are never going to be able to charge for it, ever. Because even if you say an appropriate number, your energy is going to be off and people aren't going to believe you. So for instance, let's say you should be charging $15,000 for something, okay? If you don't really believe in the value of it, if you don't really believe it's worth $15,000, if you're like, here's what you're going to do. The initial is going to come in, the potential client's going to come in, and you're going to say, well, that'll be $15,000. Now I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not much. They're going to feel that, and they're not going to think it's worth $15,000. Energy is important. How you present it is important. And when you believe in your heart of hearts, not only is that worth $15,000, actually it's worth 50, and you're only charging 15. You come at it with a totally different perspective and you say it differently. That's when you say, and that's $15,000. And when they, oh, wow, I didn't expect it to be that much. Actually, it's probably worth more 50 to 60, and you can tell them why. But I'm only charging you 15. Totally different mindset and totally different energy and different results, okay? So the first person that you have to convince of your value is you. And I would suggest that if you are an attorney, you have some value, and you can certainly always add to your value by giving great service and providing your clients with great results, but you have so much value. So go back, look, and map out, what am I providing? What is the tangible at stake here? What is the intangible? And start thinking about your value a little bit differently, because it's not just how many minutes you're spending on a matter. So thank you all. If you have liked this, please like, subscribe, comment so that other attorneys can see these videos. And if you want to get some more information about working with me, just click breedalong.com right below, and you can find out how you work with me. So take care.